We know there are many choices in internet radio, and the staff and host of LA Talk Live would like to thank you for choosing the internet's hottest destination for the most eclectic sound and invigorating talk. This is LA Talk Live. We are more than just talk.
American booty for sale in every nation. American booty for sale in every nation. American booty for sale in every nation. Mind, booty, and soul. American booty for sale in every nation. American booty for sale in every nation. American booty for sale in every nation. Mind, booty, and soul. Look at your girl who taught you how to love her. Look at the world who's on the magazine covers. Pencil thin waist with commodified traits from the one African mother.
Good evening, good evening, good evening. Good evening, good evening, good evening. You're on Mind, Booty and Soul Live. We have a great show for you tonight. We're going to be talking about cameras, technology, and social media. How are these things affecting us? How are we living amongst them? I have some very special guests here this evening. I have Maya Chasen. She's always very critical of all these particular elements in the digital world. We have conversations on a weekly basis about her satisfaction and mostly dissatisfaction by what she sees. I'm also here as Tyrone Richardson. He has Natural Women Photography.
Natural Woman.
Natural Woman. Okay, my bad.
That's all good.
Natural good. Woman Photography.
Yeah.
And then we have Erotica Blue, who's a hip hop rapper / actress, model. You know, I think you have a lot of many titles. We'll come back to you. You can give us a little bit more detail. So we're going to be talking about a variety of different things, mostly how the camera technology has evolved in the last 15 years, and is really how it affects our psyche. Before we get into that, we're going to start with news. Now, normally I would, talk about maybe, the new shows that are coming out, or, supposedly Dwight Howard's all like controversy, but these are things that actually distract us from some really important issues. I think the number one important issue that is affecting all of us is net neutrality, and also the Time Warner Comcast proposal of a merger. These are things that I hate to say, it's something that's very important, and we're really not talking about it enough. So let's first start with the Time Warner Comcast merger. Time Warner wants to buy Comcast, and then they want to split up some resources with the Charter Video Network. So then there'll only be 2 cable stations in the whole world, in the whole United States. It'll be Time Warner and then Charter Infinity or something in that nature. They're billing this like this is a good thing for us. We've seen cable over the last 20 years. They just kind of get smaller as far as the number of companies that are actually providing cable. It's getting smaller and smaller until we end up with one cable company, which is a monopoly. Right now, we have 2. And it's basically a monopoly now, because Time Warner can't really compete with Comcast. They have their own territories. They have their own, identities. And so, they basically, just like the cartel of the gangster, they said, you take this area, we'll take this area, we'll carve out the profits, you do your thing, and we do our thing. So it's something that I think we really should start voicing our opinion about. As far if we are going to allow this merger to take place, then let's allow certain things to be given to the public. Let's make sure net neutrality gets passed. Let's make sure that we have the type of activities where people can come into these, cable stations and do public access. That's something that was scratched about 10 years ago. So, these are some things that we can fight for. And then, the FCC, along with the net neutrality, they're basically giving us 60 to 90 days to give us our opinion. So now, to the average citizen, what is net neutrality and how does it affect you? Essentially, there's a fast lane that they want to give to the big corporations can afford it, and then they want to give a regular lane to people like me and you. So essentially, independent mom and pop companies that are providing some wonderful content right now, everybody's on a level playing field. So content is king. Whatever attracts people's attention. People are going to view it. Everybody has their own monetizing system. Everything's working independently. Well, now they want to say, hey, well, wait a minute. Why don't we give a fast lane to people like Netflix, and then for the other people, why don't we give them a regular lane? And people are like, well, yeah, Netflix, we need Netflix because I consume Netflix. I want to have a faster connection, right? Well, no, not really, because what's going to happen here is that as technology increases and as the bandwidth for the consumption of the technology, like pretty soon we might be dealing with holographs that can come into our living room, and people like me and you, even though we might create the most wonderful holograph in the world, we won't be able to get into your living room because we can't afford the bandwidth. So we all need to really go to the FCC, write a letter, talk about how you do not want how you do want net neutrality. You want a level playing field. You don't want to basically have people have a pay for play opportunity, and that's what they're proposing. So I'm going to be talking about this over the next couple of months because we have 60 days. And we all need to just chime into this conversation. So while I'm here, how do you guys feel about this? I know you're an independent hip hop artist. You have your own photography. I'm sure you guys want to make sure that the level playing field for the internet. Is that correct?
I was going to say, yeah. I think it's just a time now where everything is becoming more competitive now. So what that would probably do in the internet cable world is like, of course, it's going to change everything because people are going to be more competitive as far as like with the, actresses and actors, people coming out with different pilots for shows because everything will be controlled under one umbrella now, instead of two. It's already like bad enough we have two. It's kind of like everything else that's going on in the world is very similar to that. Like everything is kind of consolidating and becoming like less and less umbrellas like before. Even with our cell phone companies, when I was growing up, even though a cell phone was like more expensive to get, it was so many different cell phone companies. Now it's like, just like 4 or something now. It's like Verizon, Sprint,
yeah,
Next, T-Mobile. It used to be Nextel and all these other, people, you can get a phone from anywhere, but now everything is just kind of like, under, just a few umbrellas, and like everything is being more controlled now. So I don't know. I just think it's just, I don't know exactly what, like you said, what we can do as a people, write a letter and make sure that at least we have 2, because it's already bad enough we have 2.
Well, I think you should definitely put something on your website, get people aware of what's going on.
Right.
Have them talk about these things,
I think the challenge, I think the cable companies are barely holding on right now. You really don't need cable companies anymore.
Well,
because you have everything, it's internet driven. So we were just talking about this the other day, and it's funny how you brought it up. You look at Time Warner Cable. You got these phenomenal bills that you get from Time Warner.
Yes.
And then you can turn around and get the internet for $44, and you get internet TV, and they know they're up against a challenge. You got YouTube and the merger of Disney trying to take YouTube, because what they're going to do is consolidate what you can do and what you can't do. So with the mergers of these companies, they're trying to basically make more money or make less money and get more people. It's kind of like with Dr. Dre and Apple. You got the best sound guy, and then you got the best computers. So you merge those together, then you raise the price up on your product. So it's smart, but at the same time, cable companies are barely holding on. Well, and I think they know that, because you can start your own company from the internet.
And I think that's the key thing is you mentioned the higher bills. I remember bills when they used to be like, $80, $70,
right.
Then we were like tripping off $100. I know my bill right now just went up to like $145, and I'm just like, wow.
But the crazy part about that is people barely watch TV when everybody uses a lot of their time for the internet.
Right. And that is the future of television, the ISVP. Everybody in the future, your television signal is going to be coming through your computer cable line. The line that we have that comes in for our modem, that's television in the future. So I guess they're putting a strong hold on how they want to control that resources. and they definitely don't want a level playing field. So
But
it's
I don't
something that
think
we
they
have to talk
a level
about.
playing field though. With just like I was saying with the internet, how as powerful as it is, you could start your own network from the internet.
Yeah.
So therefore, you don't really. You could go, hey, cable, we don't need you no more. So if everybody said, hey, we're gonna go to the internet, then everybody would have to consolidate or move over to the internet and say, hey, the NFL, go to the internet. So therefore, we can cut out.
Because let me just say, I have Time Warner, and me and my husband actually had considered getting rid of it at one point. And he was telling me like, oh, well, yeah, like there are like a bunch of different new companies that they don't have the show the day it comes out, but the next day. I think it's Hulu.
Yeah.
And my thing with Time Warner, the funny thing is I have Time Warner and Netflix, so I'm just
She doubled up.
super like hooked. But I feel like I have access to any movie I want to see, and sometimes I can't find stuff online. So I guess my question to you, because I do have Time Warner, and when I'm up late, I have seen public access channels. At least that's what it says. Well, I want to know, what do you think? What is the worst case scenario to you?
The worst case scenario is one, our cable bills are going to go more expensive, and we won't be able to kind of maneuver. My biggest thing is, and this is something that we all should be voting for. I want an a la carte system. I want to choose I only watch like 15 channels. I don't watch all those different channels.
Right.
I want to be able to say, let me pay $2 per channel and let me get $30 worth of stuff. This whole this whole Dodger thing, and they want to include that in my bill. I mean, okay, look, it's great that the Dodgers got $8 billion and they're able to really jump their revenue, and they deserve it as a company, right? But I shouldn't be forced to watch it and have it go on my bill so that other people who do watch it, can see it too. And that's the whole
like baseball.
But that's the whole point. Yeah, I like baseball, but I don't like watching it, and so I don't want to pay for it. And so that's the whole thing why DirecTV hasn't taken on the Dodgers, and DirecTV and Time Warner has been battling. So those are things that we can ask for. Yeah, okay, make these big companies, but allow us to have some individuality of what we consume.
That is a really good point. That is everybody's main complaint with cable, because the sad thing is that all the channels that you're even talking about that you don't watch, most of these packages don't even include the channels that you actually do want to see. Like the main, like Cinemax and HBO, any of those, like it's extra. So you have this big package of channels that you don't watch, and then they charge you more to add the channels that you do want, which is the whole reason you're paying for the package to begin with.
I've always thought that too, like what he said, like about the a la carte system. My whole thing, I was thinking like, I barely watch TV. I think they should bill you on how much you watch TV.
Or if you turn the TV on.
Exactly, right. Like they should start like the TV meter, because I'm like, I'm paying X amount of dollars for cable, and it's like I'm gone all day. So when I get home, exactly, I might watch 3 TV shows and go to bed, and then I'm not watching TV all day for me to be paying like all this money.
Watch TV for 45 minutes and pay for 45 minutes. You know what I'm saying? Well, I was only home 4 minutes.
I urge everybody to let's talk about that on the internet. Let's share that with some of our fan base. Let's really get discussions going about things that really matter to our pocketbooks, instead of dealing with the Kardashian, all this other kind of fluff that's really distracting us from everyday issues. So let's get really into the show. Like, okay, right now, what is the number one device that we all are just really consumed by and we're mesmerized by, and it's so much of our lives?
Cell phone.
Cell phone? Maybe. I say it's the camera. I say if we had to get rid of, if somebody said what product we cannot get rid of, what technology, it would be the camera. I mean, we could adjust with the cell phones. It would be hard, but if we cannot record ourselves and we cannot see ourselves, yes, we would lose our freaking minds.
I wouldn't.
You don't think you would lose your mind?
Because I'm gonna tell you the reason why.
She lying.
As many pictures as you take.
No, that's because I have adjusted to what society has become today. But
blame it on the boogie.
I grew up in an era. I'm not that old, but I was just saying, like, I was just telling my sister the other day, I was just like, I'm so happy that, like, I didn't grow up, like, my parents, they grew up in like the civil rights, era, all that type of stuff. But I'm glad that I grew up in there where, I could drink from whatever fountain I want. And I've seen like the development of technology. Like I had a pager. I was there like growing up with the first cell phone and all this stuff. Like my kids won't know that. You know what I'm saying? And a lot of these new kids in high
I'm a
school,
little bit before you.
A lot of, no,
we had to go outside and create games.
Yes.
So
you had to interact with each other.
Yeah.
Imagination.
And then you had to have conversation. So it's kind of like with me. I like the texting, but I don't like the texting because when you're conversing with somebody, even with the photography stuff, you have to communicate with them, and so you need to be able to have that verbiage and be able to go, hey, I need you to wear this, and this is what's going on with the coloring and the lighting and all these elements. So the technology is kind of like, I think, kind of put a footstool in some things, but also it's an overnight thing. You can become famous in a matter of seconds. So just from a 4-minute video, your whole life could change.
Oh, it definitely can. What about you, Maya?
Well, I was actually going to touch on her point. You were saying you're happy that you were born in this time and not your grandmother's time. But the benefit of their time is they could turn up on Saturday night and it wouldn't be on the internet.
Right.
Any crazy stories
Right.
that you hear about what your grandparents did, really it's gossip or hearsay because unless you see footage or videos or pictures, your grandma could say, she's lying. I didn't do that.
So true.
Yeah, but
I was just talking to a friend. No, I was just talking to a friend yesterday. My friend's mom. I was, I know how to do hair really well, so I was like doing like a braid in her hair. She was going somewhere special, whatever. But I was right. But she was telling me her mom is like 60 years old. And her mom's telling me this old story, right? And I'm like, we're talking about Tracy Ellis Ross. She's like, yeah. Oh, she was telling me about the movie that Diana Ross played, Billie Holiday.
Lady Sings the Blues.
Yeah, there you go. She's asking me about, we're talking about the movie and stuff like that. And then we start talking about her kids. And she was like, yeah, Tracy Ellis. This is what she's telling me yesterday. I had no idea. She's like, yeah, Tracy Ellis Ross is Barry's Gordy daughter and and he was married. I'm like, hold up. I'm like, if this is back in social media days, this is crazy. Like, and I was like, I never knew that. I know that now because you told me, and you were, you're older. Just like my mom, she told me how Richard Pryor lit himself on fire and stuff like that. And just all these old stories that people only have by memory now.
I think Maya brings up a good point because she's talking about how you're always on. You got to you got to realize that the camera can always be on you.
Absolutely.
It's like
That's scary.
That's what I'm saying.
We have no privacy. We can't really with the whole thing with the Dwight Howard thing, just stuff that's just like your personal conversation. It's like now I have to edit myself at every moment. I have to precaution how I present myself because Lord knows, don't let me be around some people that might not like me and might want to instigate a certain conversation that is always going to make me look bad. And so today I put up something on my website called mindbootandsoul.tv. Take a look at it. And it's really dealing with now that I have your attention. And one of the videos on there, he makes a really good point. He talks about social media, and he says that we're always with social media, we're always editing ourselves. We're always presenting the best possible light of ourselves. We never have like a raw moment. And he's talking about with organic, intimate conversations, you are just raw. So it's that whole give and take of editing yourself and being raw. And when can you be that?
I think with you when you say that too, having a lot of friends that won't go out on a date simply because that date is about to turn into a picture fest, and you can't have a conversation with somebody because a picture fest meaning you can take a girl out to dinner, and she's already got a picture of the restaurant there, she got a picture of the food there, and then the intimate conversation. She could be having that phone on record. Yeah. So it's a lot of different things that go down. I'm not saying this is not just towards me. I'm just saying like everything plays itself out too fast. It's like when I was talking to you earlier, everything is like McDonald's. You drive up to the window, you get it instantaneously, and you go. Now, when you want to sit down and get that plate of good food, you ain't got time for it. because you're used to the drive-through. So if we slow down just a little bit and leveled out, I think that'll be great. But it's not going to happen until you slow yourself down.
Well, I urge everybody to take a look at that video. It's about a 3-minute, it's kind of animation, and he makes these really key points. But at the end, he really talks about the age of loneliness. And he was like saying one of the reasons why we're lonely is because we always are connected, but we have these kind of false connections. Mm-hmm. And what is creating the age of loneliness is you're not having enough time with yourself. It's really ironic, and he makes this really good argument that if we spent more time with ourselves and have more intimate moments with ourselves, then we'll be able to have more intimate moments and conversations with others. So again, go take a look at that, mindbodyandsoul.tv.com. It's right over there in Now That I Have Your Attention, Getting Your Attention. So take a look at it on the front page. But as we get into cameras, and I want to really get into cameras, and I remember my history with cameras. I came up in the whole gangster era, right? Mm-hmm. The gun, the male testosterone, and I'm gonna kill you, and I'm better than you. And I know as I was processing and trying to figure out how was I gonna operate in this world, there was a couple of key songs that helped me really identify, what I was able to do. And one of the songs was an X-Clan, and it was talking about the pull of the trigger goes zoom, not boom. And it was like a riddle to me. And I remember I was like saying, what goes zoom, not boom? And it really took me a year. But after a year, I figured out, it's a camera. And so for me, my camera has been the way that I express myself, the way I tell my stories. It's opened a lot of doors and sent me around the world. It got me into the whole visual effects world where I worked on a dozen feature films because I had a yearbook video, and I had a whole video of things that I did in my senior year in college. So the camera has opened up so many doors for me, and I like the expression of storytelling. But at the same time, the camera, it's so evasive now. As you mentioned, when I go out on dates, and I haven't had those type of nightmares, but
no, I'm just saying that it is, but you can see it just on Facebook. That's what I'm saying, or other things where, it's cool to see pictures of food, but I got food at home.
Yeah.
And if I take pictures of food at home all the time, then. Come on, Tyrone, do you have a life? It's like, do you have a life?
Well,
what I'm saying? It's like, but it's cool. It's cool, but it's not cool. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? There's a degree that you go, hey, let me enjoy this date with this guy because he could be very interesting to me. If I listen to him, I could probably learn more about him. Mm-hmm. Let me enjoy this young lady because she may tell me some things about her favorite color, and I may miss it because I'm taking pictures of everything. So get into the date.
Well, I'm a documentarian, so I had to learn to, put my camera down and enjoy life. So when I go out, the camera is home. But what is you have these wonderful natural women. I have to get it straight.
It was a woman, natural woman.
So, but what I really loved about it is that, now we're just seeing the model look, the model physique, the model presentation at all times. And we're not really seeing the girl next door, the natural essence of a woman, just a nice plain photo. You go, oh, wow, that's a good woman in the backyard type of thing. We're not getting that.
Right.
What is it about the camera that inspires you? And why did you start the natural woman photography?
I think, mainly, I started Natural Woman and the reason why I came up with that name because it reminded me of women I grew up with. Mm-hmm. The necessary women, like your mother, your auntie, your cousins, and then those girls you grew up with in school. And for me, I would look at someone and I would take a picture of them in my mind, but I would not. I would just hold that, like man, I remember this moment. So somebody could call me and I would tell them in detail about a moment that I had. So when I got the camera, I had my camera sitting in my living room, and that was in '84. So I'm telling a little bit about my age. I had my camera sitting in my living room for 6 months on the floor, and I said, man, I was going through some personal stuff, and I just picked the camera up. I met this girl. I said, hey, I just want you to come out and take some pictures with me. And I went out and shot one outfit. And I had about 1,100 shots of just this one outfit. And I'm like, but I didn't concentrate so much on the outfit. I concentrated on the girl looking into the camera. And before I even shot a picture of her, we had sat down for like an hour and just talked. And I built with her to get a visual of her life and how I could tell her life. just through her beauty.
Mm-hmm.
And as I started doing that, I started doing different interviews with different girls, and they'll come and sit down and talk, and we'll build. And then the history of what I had already, I had worked for Aaron Spelling, Melrose Place, 90210, and Charmed, and all that. So I'm going inside and to the casting department and getting information from her. So I said, let me take that and throw it back out to the people I'm working with.
Mm-hmm. Got it.
And as I did that, things started to change, because now you can't judge her by what she has on now. You can only judge her from her beauty, meaning you can only see her face. And I'll only let people see her face first.
Mm-hmm.
And I keep them looking at her face. As they're looking at her face, then I bring in a 3/4 shot where you got the hip.
Mm-hmm.
Then I bring in the full body shot where you got the body. But I made them starve so they can go, oh. Because if you see everything out front, the desire to want it is not there no more.
Wow.
So as I did that, it was kind of like, and then at the other hand, I was in a different state. And then I was like, man, my guys back home, I could just show them some beautiful women from here. But then I would go back to my home state and find beautiful women from there that they never knew was in the same town.
Well, the girl next door. But you mentioned the kind of layer effect. Now erotica here, Blue, you know, if we go to your Facebook and website, you know, we see a lot of beautiful pictures. You know, I love it. But we're not leaving anything to the imagination. You have a wonderful three-dimensional body. So let me ask you, what is your relation? Do you love the camera? Do you love the aspect of what the picture brings to you? And how does it operate with what you're trying to promote as being, you know, the next hip hop, rage, I would hear?
Honestly, this is the honest truth. In my mind, I don't really think don't get me wrong, I do have a few outfits where they are a little, I guess, provocatively. But I think for the most part, like my honest to God opinion, I don't really think I show a lot of skin, but I feel like it's not, I really don't feel like it's in bad taste. That's why I dress how I dress, because I feel like, you know, I don't feel like it's in bad taste. I just feel like, you know, because of my physique and how I'm built, it can look a little bit more, you know, provocative than what it really is, but I don't think it really is.
I mean, I can support her. I mean, here's the crazy thing, and I can take it all the way back to like the Marilyn Monroe stages of life, where as a young man we were always subjected to see something that we didn't have on our block. You dig what I'm saying?
Okay.
So
okay.
There was never like a Marilyn Monroe walking down our block, but in our stores we had them magazines. You dig what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So
yep.
As we having these magazines, we starting to see these pictures that we don't have on our block, but we get this very beautiful African American woman or beautiful woman to say that has a body, but for some reason it's always pointed to as quick to judge first, as you see. The same thing that I went through just being a photographer is I got judged first based off the girls that they saw and did not know before they judged the work and the art of the beauty.
Of course.
They looked at it like she's threatening. She's threatening because she has curves. But now we make someone that's out there popular because of her curves, but we grew up with that.
Okay, well, we're going to go to a break. We're going to come back with Maya, and I want to actually get her point of view. Now, if you can see some of this, go to Erotica Blue, and that's B-L-E.
E-Blue.
E-Blue. Spell it out for us.
That's what they call me in the streets, Erotica, but it's E-Blue, E.B-L-E-U. Facebook and Instagram is E_BLEU, and you check it out for yourself.
Okay, and then Natural Woman Photography. Go check out during the break. Take a look at these websites, and of course go to Mind, Booty, and Soul, and we'll come back with some more pointing cresses after this particular break. Thank you.
Because I, need attention. I don't think that's it at all. I think it's because at 4 I made a decision that I wanted to live in the TV, and that's where I'm most comfortable. It's narcissistic. I'm a Virgo, and the Virgo was developed after the Greek mythology about Narcissus, who stared at his reflection in the water so long that he drowned. So I'm completely narcissistic. I love the camera, and I'll never get bored with it.
It's definitely a camera addiction. The way women look on camera, the way they look on TV, the popularity, the status symbol, the lifestyle they get from being on TV. Women will do anything to be on camera. Anything.
The girls that'll, come wearing less than I would.
Hey everybody, it's your man Sabir Bay back on your airwaves, inviting you to join us every Tuesday, 3 p.m. Pacific Standard Time on the Sabir Bay Show, discussing history, law, and hip-hop. Every Tuesday, 3 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, the Sabir Bay Show, exclusively on latalklive.com. You also can catch us on iTunes Radio and R&B, Live 365, Radio Flag, and now Stitcher Radio. Or watch us and listen directly at latalklive.com. Reality radio, handcrafted for your listening pleasure. This is LA Talk Live, and we are more than just talk.
Hi, this is Dr. Levi, your fitness doctor, making a personal house call, inviting you to join me Wednesday at 10 a.m. Pacific for my all-new show, The Dr. Levi Show. Join us as we discuss fitness, health, and well-being, including emotional and spiritual health. So don't forget to tune in to the Dr. Levi Show every Wednesday at 10 a.m. Pacific, exclusively on latalklive.com and the Talk Live Broadcast Network. You can also catch us on iTunes, Radio R&B, or watch us on Ustream.tv, or catch us on the Live 365 network, and now on Radio Flag and Stitcher Radio. Reality radio handcrafted for your listening pleasure. This is LA Talk Live, and we are more than just talk.
Hi, this is Elena, inviting you to join me every Wednesday at noon for Elena's Beauty Talk and more, exclusively on LA Talk Live. You can also catch us on iTunes Radio, R&B, or watch us on Ustream.tv. Reality radio, handcrafted for your listening pleasure. This is LA Talk Live, and we are more than just talk.
I want to bring back the true authenticity of the word friend, because it meant something to me as I grew up as a young child, and as a grown man, I still require it. Devin, I still, Candace, Sienna, Greg, I still require the validity and the substance and the weight of the word friend. It's not somebody who will like a picture every now and then or comment on a status. That's not a real friend. A friend is somebody who's like, hey, what you need? You need to go to the airport. Let's go. Oh, well, you need to talk about these struggles you have inside of you. You need to talk about these inner demons you're fighting. I'm on the other end of the phone. The word friend is not a casualty. It's not to be misused. So I just want to sing this song and bring back the strength and the power to the word friend. Everybody.
Good evening. We're back here live, Mind, Booty, and Soul Radio. You just heard an excerpt from Rain, who actually just booked the next Bobby Brown for Whitney Houston bio. So great, congratulations, Rain. He's like a very, 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 very talented artist. So, he definitely do this type of opportunity. But before the break, we were actually talking, about the image and the way, women are presented, especially on the internet. We all seen this wave where it just became this period of time where it seemed like a lot of models, or just a lot of people that wanted to become models, and the whole idea of a model started to parlay itself on Twitter, started to parlay itself on Facebook, where people would start to show these pictures essentially for free, and it kind of like, along with the print game, it actually ruined the male magazine game. So, before we went to the break, I wanted to hear Maya and, see what your point of view, because you're not really caught up in the entertainment industry. You're not always trying to promote an image. You're not trying to promote a message or get somebody to buy and sell and like you. So you have a unique perspective that I want you to bring to this table about what do you think about women and skin and the pictures and all these things that's been going on and how to promote themselves.
Well, I personally feel like I know that forever and ever since time began, they always will compare and have compared, you know, the Caucasian physique to the black woman's physique, and I feel like yes, most are a little more voluptuous, most black women, but I do think that with more comes more responsibility, and I do think that just me personally as a black woman, I feel like well, I'm not voluptuous, but if I were, I feel like I wouldn't want to dress in a way. There are outfits, for example, that I feel like I can't wear because they don't look right on me. Maybe I saw somebody really thin in that, you know, with a different physique, but I can't wear that. And I feel like I want to be respected in that regard, and I want people to look at me a certain way. So I don't know. I think that a lot of black women feel like, oh, well, they can wear it, you know, so why shouldn't I be able to wear it? Okay, I have curves, but they had it on. Why can't I have it on? But I feel like, well, because you're shaped different, and you have more to cover up. And, you know, I saw something the other day. I read a quote, and it said, chivalry isn't dead. It just went wherever being ladylike went. And and I really liked it because I feel like we're in a time right now where anything goes. We are living at a point where we really are at the blurred line, you know.
I think that has a lot to do with what's being visibly seen on TV as well, because if you can see somebody that is not in the studio really creating great songs, and you see somebody go, hey, I'm a horrible singer, but I'm going to put a great record behind this, and then I'll become an overnight sensation and get 2 million views, where that person went in the studio to create a great song only gets 40,000. And then the success rate of putting your mind into something is no longer interesting. It's like, do something mindless and then you become successful. So where it was a time where that person was in the studio or auditioning or singing, and now you got a TV show about singers, and you could become you have to get in that long line and get on this show, and then guess what? After you become successful, then that show is going to give you a lifetime contract, meaning you're not going to be able to do anything. So the days of hard work is pretty much over.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
It's kind of like over, so you don't have to do nothing extra hard anymore. So it's like, if I can be a guy and I walk outside in some skinny jeans and somebody likes my jeans and they take a picture of it, it get 700,000 likes. Yeah. Now I want to find this guy.
I think it depends on, if you want that short-term success, you really don't have to work. But if you want longevity, I feel like you definitely have to work. You have to. And like touching on her subject, I was talking to somebody, and we were talking about the same thing, because you were saying, like, you know, you feel like the black woman, or a more voluptuous woman, basically she shouldn't wear what whoever was wearing, because, you know, you're shaped differently. And I was battling with that for a long time, because I hated going out, like, with my friends. Well, not hate going with my friends, but every time they would always say, like, ooh, like that. Like, I'll come downstairs and they'll be like, oh, look what you got. I'm like, this is the exact same thing such and such had on, or that, but why mine gotta be this or whatever, you know what I'm saying? So, I just want to say this one thing. So I finally came to a point, because, like, okay, when I if I buy a pair of short pants or something, or a skirt, well, not a skirt, but like a pair of short pants, perfect example, right? I'm not gonna buy one size up, big old shorts, all droopy on the waistline, because the ones that are actually my size have a little extra cheek hanging out. And it's like, I'm just going to embrace it. Like, if the bottom cheek is hanging out, the bottom cheek is hanging out. Like, big deal. Like, oh, well, like, I'm not going to, you know, and I know it makes... You can't limit yourself. Yeah, and I know it makes a lot of women uncomfortable, you know, sometimes. But I'm not, I just, you know, and I just came to this conclusion, like, just literally like a few months ago. And I was like, I'm not going to be ashamed because somebody is uncomfortable with, you know, what I got going on, you know, especially if I'm just wearing like I said, I can show you guys pictures, like literally like a regular outfit that little Kimmy could probably have on, and it would not be a threat. But like, if I put it
little
on,
Kimmy is not blessed with 3-dimensional curves, you know, and one of those, I hate to say it, those real old school booties where you don't have like the injections,
A real one.
Yeah.
A real one.
Yeah.
Those are the day of the past.
Yeah.
Like 5 people left walking around
Yeah.
with those booties.
Yeah. And you can count them.
Yeah, no, actually, I'm actually enjoying the little overweight booty that's still shapely, but it's still there. I'm like, oh, that's real. Right now, this kind of like cartoon dimension booty that is just the perfect thing,
goodness.
and with the extra little right there,
See, that's a blessing and a curse for a woman. You know what I'm saying? It's like, man, it's like if she got a nice butt, hey, it's all good. There's still our queens, we still gonna look at them. You know what I'm saying? It's not gonna change the format of anything.
But let's switch wheels for a second, because we were talking about attention, and really earlier you just mentioned, and we were almost getting into the kind of fast food McDonald's of entertainment, especially with music, and as far as like the disposability of music and the way that we actually consume music now. We a new generation, they call them millennials, they actually are used to actually getting free music, and and quiet as it kept, if you know how to work YouTube, all you got to do is do that and you can get all the music you want. But the thing is that now, and there's a new television series, a new reality thing called Famous in 12. It's by the guy Harvey Levins, from TMZ, and he really goes into the whole fact of, look, I'm going to bring this family in. They're going to try to be like the Kardashians. This is a black family. They got the daughters. They want to be a singer, model, dancer, blah, blah, boom. You heard the song before. But the key thing is he specifically says that the era of talent is gone, that you need to shock people. You need to grab their attention. And so we're really dealing with attention deficit disorders within all of us. We've been dealing with people getting our attention for the last 20 years, that we have these filters up, and now everything is becoming much more obnoxious in our face.
What they say, get them in 5 seconds.
Yes.
If you don't get them in 5 seconds, it's a wrap.
So this is what this show is really about, is that they got the whole team of TMZ right behind them, and it's like it basically, I always say this, I said, okay, you know what, if you're going to do the porn tape, you're black, well, first of all, and you don't have the marketing power and the publicist of Kim Kardashian and Paris Hilton that'll take that 15 seconds while they put it on, and then they'll multiply that and get it all to the little news networks.
And they already had names behind them, like, it's Paris Hilton, she's a Hilton, it's a Kardashian, like her father, so
exactly.
Maybe
they had a little bit of household names.
You gotta understand.
No, I'm not saying
you gotta understand.
Like if Johnny Cochran, I don't know who Johnny Cochran's daughter is, whatever. But I'm just saying, let's say if let me see, Sanaa Lathan was Johnny Cochran's daughter. She came out with a sex tape, as beautiful as Sanaa Lathan is, and it probably could have kicked off. But
that would have kicked off.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. You know what I'm saying?
It's name attachment though. It's name attachment. That's basically what you're saying.
That's what I'm saying. Exactly. It wasn't like no regular, like even Pam Anderson, like she was with, she was already a famous actress before her tape. Like it wasn't just no regular plain Jane. Like, oh Daisy, I made a sex tape and I blew up. Like these are.
But I feel like nobody talked about that they were famous before, because me personally, I didn't know, and nobody really talks about who the Kardashians are. Nobody really talks about that their dad was one of the
they talked about it in the beginning.
In the OJ.
In the beginning, like 8 years ago when they came out.
But I'm saying Kim was out before the Kardashians. She was kind of doing the scene, I feel like, before the show was really...
Well, no, she was Paris Hilton's stylist.
Exactly.
And she was in their entourage, the red carpet entourage. So, she had a little bit of a good step in, and then when the sex tape came out, and she really exploited Ray J, she sucked all of his fame, and then she projected out to herself, and he's like just a little celebrity.
That's called the power of a woman and great management.
Oh, exactly.
That's great management, mom management.
I feel like she was always known though. Like I promise, like when I was coming up and people were telling about this sex tape, right? All I ever heard was they never said I mean, they said they always said, Kim Kardashian, her dad, Robert Kardashian, the guy, like they were very elaborative, like because everybody like Kim Kardashian, who the hell is that? You know what I'm saying? And that's when they start. Oh, her father was one of the defense team for. I'm like, oh, okay.
Well, now you don't have to do that.
Now you don't no more. We already
because
know. We got that.
We know Kim is the leader, and then they're probably getting a new young one in. I forgot the young one name. She basically is a model, and she just posed her first topless, Kendall.
Yeah.
So she's gonna probably be the next wave because to me, Kim, no disrespect, I love their game, but I think the plastic surgery is getting a bit much, and the booty is looking really not only cartoony, it's looking way out there. It's every time I see it is different. So good luck to her.
Keep upping the ante. She has to keep, I mean, there are girls.
You got to remember.
On Instagram, there are girls on Instagram who are not celebrities who I see every day with bigger butts than her, and it's clearly they bought it. But I'm saying, I'm sure she's seeing these too, and she's known for her butt. And even though she said it's real, I'm saying we all know. She has to up her game. She has to be the butt queen. So yeah, she's gonna keep going back to.
I have one question.
Okay.
Just one question. Now, we all know there's a lot of, I'm not disputing that, there's a lot of fake butts out there. A lot. We know because most of the ones that I classify as being fake are the ones that don't move. Like, yes, don't move. Sorry, I'm saying it's fake probably 99% of the time. But are we saying everybody has a fake butt because they have a nice butt now? Because I've never got that. Let me tell you something. Growing up, I never got that question until that fake butt stuff started happening, like in 09, like 2010.
Yes.
So I'm like, what?
I think that's an excuse for people to touch. That's all.
No, they'll never touch.
You know what I'm saying?
I'm just
People
saying,
like,
oh, is that fake?
Like, and then I'll see the like other girls, like they'll see some girl on social media, like her butt's fake. I'm like, why? Because it's big and nice.
No,
like,
I feel like you can look at people and see a girl who is skinny framed. I'm saying you can look at her arms, even skinny arms. Her legs are really skinny. I'm saying if you
I got skinny arms.
You got to dedicate that much time to look at a woman. You might not even want to look at that one.
I'm saying, but you can look at a picture and
you can
see.
You can tell a lot.
Portion wise,
it just doesn't fit.
It doesn't make sense.
It doesn't make sense. Right. But that's what I'm saying. Like I've been on my Instagram photos or whatever, people would tell me your body doesn't make sense. They're like, you're very petite up top of the, but at least my legs match. It's not like a skinny little leg, I be in the gym, I work on the legs, But I mean, I could tell the fake ones. Like I said, like no tomorrow. Like I'm like the bootyologist, so I could tell the fake ones so much, so good. But I just don't like the people who can decipher the fake ones from the real ones.
But the booty was always the thing that captures people's attention. We talk about the turn of the century, and we went over this kind of like gimmick way of selling music, and then we had this whole era where the booty and the video vixen and the gyration, that was the way to bring in the audience, and then they start selling this lifestyle and and this throwing away money. So, but the booty was the first attention getter, and so now, and this is why I want to bring up the whole Famous in 12, essentially you got the publicity team behind you now. What are you going to do, to put yourself in the position where you can take your brand to the next level? So, I'm going to ask this of, my guest here. If you were in that position of Famous in 12, and I'm going to basically tune in first, what would you do? I would first of all start making events. I would make events where, where I'm dealing with my controversy of mind, booty, and soul, where we're dealing with sexuality in your face, and when you want to show the disparity between that and the corporations. And you got to create these real-time events in real-time places that are automatically bring the press there, and then you got the TMZ behind you. So with these girls here, they got the one that's going to be a virgin or, essentially wants to go real close and still be a virgin. You got to put her in a situation where her virginity is going to be compromised or possibly compromised. Those are the type of spectacles. And I hate to say this, but why now do we have to continuously shock people? And what would you do to shock people to create a brand for Erotic Blue? Now, tell people a little bit about what you do, maybe give them a little spit, and how would you take that 15 seconds and turn it into a multi-level entertainment machine? I
mean, I would probably just capitalize off of like my family anyways. Just where I come from, and there's a lot more to me than, just, of course, there's a lot more to everybody than just what people see. But, I think I would run with that 15. I would get like the family involved. And I just think my story is very interesting as far as like, things that I went through. And
Tell us a little bit about your story briefly.
well, just, going through stuff as a teenager. I mean, not a teenager, but just a child growing up. My mom, she had 8 kids, struggled a lot. I got stories on top of stories. It's so hard to even start, but just growing up, kind of poor, but still making it. As far as like turning to music as an outlet. Being in a group at first and that not working out, and gave up on it, and then came back to it years later after I seen a female who was actually successful and made it. And because if you look up to like Beyonce, Mariah Carey, it seems like their story is not, I won't say perfect, but you just think that you don't have a chance. And then when you see somebody like Ghetto Keisha Cole and her ghetto family, you're like, hey, like she really came from this, and I can identify with that. So I'm glad that I had that years ago to like, okay, I'm like, okay, if this child can make it. Oh yeah, I know. Because we have very, very, very similar backgrounds. I think one of the only, I mean, what even attracted me to her and even knew that I could do it, because our mothers were in prison at the same time. So when I watched her show, and I'm like, what? Your mom in prison too?
Wow.
Like, this is my girl right here, So.
Well, briefly, don't they have a show coming out where they got a therapist dealing with Keisha Cole and her family?
I'm done with it now, but back then it was very inspiring.
I think they got I don't keep up with it, but I think I saw some previews. So, okay, now you're gonna take the your photography, and we all know it's about the natural woman. What would you do if you were in that position?
Well, basically for me, it's kind of like taking a brand and step by step making it blow out. Mainly, what I would do is take that everyday girl and give her the opportunity to shoot any kind of way that she wants to shoot. With that being said, she's not gonna be quickly judged. So you take each girl, different nationalities. I would brand out my T-shirt line. I would brand out to all cultures of people. Instead of saying, hey, I just have African American women, I have all women, and the natural woman can be celebrated within just having fun with pictures.
Okay, so let me tune in on that. Your whole thing is natural woman, right? Let's have a natural woman contest. Let's find out what woman without any makeup, just looks plain old natural, can take the best picture amongst these type of settings. And you just say,
like I said, with that right there, when I say natural woman, I don't mean like the natural hair, the natural this, the natural that. I mean, the way that I do it is naturally having fun all the way around in photography. Now, what that does is it takes away the girl that if she wants to rock a weave, so what? If she wants to have a big afro, so what? If she want to have short hair, so what? She's still titled a natural woman. So you take away the brands of all these different names and titles that women get, and you call them one thing. I had a conversation the other day with a girl. She said, I'm a full-figured woman. I said, no, you're a natural woman. Because if you lose all that weight, guess what you are? A woman. But you're a natural woman. So what you're doing is taking the brand and you're building the brand out. And on top of that, then you move it over to a section where you have drops for like your brand of T-shirt. And then you move it over again where you have television documentaries regarding real life situations and real life issues. So we got to get back to the point of she's not just a pretty face. She's a person. And it's too many pretty women out there to go and say, I'm the baddest chick in the world, because you're not. You're not, because if you're 22, there's an 18-year-old that looks better than you, and that's built better than you.
Ouch.
She may not have as much common sense or have been through as much as you, but she's on her way, and you're on your way out, because that's how we judge, and we shouldn't judge. But the quality of woman should not be judged on the way you look. Mm-hmm. It's to be judged on your beliefs, your surrounding, your aura, and all these elements. You know what I'm saying? So how I got it, I'm going step by step. I'm not in a rush. Like my grandfather said, you walk down the hill, you get them all. So I'm just taking my time.
Okay.
And I'm doing it the way it has to be done. I'm not doing it. I I never took Natural Woman and conformed to Hollywood, because that's what it was never about that.
Mhm.
It was like, how can I take Natural Woman and make Hollywood come to me?
Got it.
And it has. Through Natural Woman, I got called to do photography for Nick Cannon's company. Through Natural Woman, I got called to go do photos on the East Coast, the Midwest, down south, and all these elements, because now I'm giving opportunities to people that would never probably see opportunity, but at the same time I'm educating them on what's the process step. Because, like growing up, our parents wasn't teaching us how to become an actress in Hollywood.
No.
It was like, this is how you get the food on the table.
Okay.
You go to work every day. So now I'm taking what I have and I'm sharing with people. And that's the blessing that I can give out, because I have that knowledge. And I'm telling you, if you dumb it down, all you're doing is giving somebody the opportunity to say, guess what? I discovered you. And they didn't discover you. You are already ready. You're already done. So by the time you get there, you're going to be running through the gate.
Okay.
So let somebody say to you, I'm discovering you. Don't let them say, I've seen everything already. It's over with. Don't let them judge you based off a photo, because they will.
Okay, so Maya, we're kind of time is flying. Let's tune into. I'm sure you've seen a little bit about the show Famous in 12. So what do you think about the fact that it appears like this family has no clue? The mother is supposed to be the mommy manager, and she's got all this talent here, and they're just thrown into Hollywood, and they're just so star-stuck about, I'm hanging around the star and getting these selfies. It looks like it's going to take them 6 or 7 weeks to even figure out to get a plan, and by that time they're going to run out of time, in my opinion.
I don't know. I feel like, when they do these auditions, most networks are pretty blunt about what will you do? What are you willing to do?
Okay.
So I think they kind of draw that out. I've been on MTV interviews before, a little audition, so I kind of have seen how they do the questionnaires, and they just ask you point blank, will you be in a bikini on TV? If you are, lift up your shirt. If you say yes, like they put you on the spot. And I feel like, especially with the Paris Hiltons and the Kim Kardashians, whether you guys feel like they had a name behind them or not, I feel like the way the public viewed it, or at least most people I've talked to, they feel like these people were given shows and are made famous, not really for anything. They're not talent. They're not singers, they're not dancers, they're not. I'm saying, whatever we want to call it, what they're famous for. I feel like most people feel like they were just kind of given a show. I think these girls will rise to the occasion, unfortunately. I think they will do what they need to do.
Yeah, they were prepped for it.
Oh, yeah, they're going to
definitely prepped for it.
I mean, come on. One of the girls, I'm going to show you the hottest virgin you've ever seen. Come on. Well, who even talks like that? What?
It's kind of
Especially if you're a virgin.
I'm saying, come on. That's to rev up everybody's engine.
It goes back to what I was saying before. We were not prepped for this. They were prepped for this. You know what I'm saying? So they had a dad that was a judge. So he would say, "Hey, give me the contract." So you didn't really have that in the hood. You don't say, "Hey, I got a contract. I'm gonna sign it." So you're not getting someone that's helping educate you about it. I don't want you to come and shoot with me unless we have an agreement established.
Right.
And with that agreement, I'm gonna send you the release form. And I'm going to tell you where they're going to go. If you don't want to shoot with me, hey, somebody else will.
But we've seen so much with the camera game, and I wish I had more time to really discuss this about the whole
part 2.
Yeah, the whole manipulation of the camera and how women are being manipulated from the camera. But, as we talk about the camera, we're kind of concluding the show. And we really didn't get into technology. The camera right now, we're only seeing a glimpse of the camera. I mean, we had our whole, in the 50s, we had our relationship with the camera, but we really are starting to see a new dimension in the camera since the new millennium. And we have this accessibility to the camera now, where all of us can get access to these high quality images. And then now women can take these snapshots of before they couldn't take professional photography. And I think we ought to start thinking about the camera now. It's really opening a new dimension. There's one thing that I remember reading about a long time ago, and it said we're in the era where our atoms are going to be turned into pixels. You know, the Matrix is here. We're seeing the transformation. We want to be on the other side of that camera. We think that that's the world, that's the being. Well, I believe that that's going to be a new portal. That's a new world as technology starts to become much more powerful. Again, we're only seeing a glimpse of it. Imagine what we're going to see in 10 to 15 years. Imagine what the cameras are going to do then. You know, they're already talking about, you know, there's this report that some of this 3D stuff that's coming out of the TV is just doing more than just entertaining you. We have to look at entertainment a lot different than we ever have before because the camera is in our face. It's recording everything we do. We won't be able to get away from the camera. We'll always have to edit ourselves, even in the privacy of our own home. If we learn anything by Donald Sterling, we learn that even in my own home, I cannot control what's going on, what comes out of my own house. What goes in my house, I don't care what you say, what goes on in my house should stay in my house. Unless I'm creating some type of violence, some type of crime where everybody else can hear it, nobody has a right to come into my house and hear that stuff. So, you know, we are definitely going to have a part 2 because we got to get into the different dimension of a camera, the different dimension of entertainment. Entertainment is just not taking us away from our lives that we think are as hell. Entertainment is doing much more. It's affecting our psyche. Right now, what is all this I have? Why do I always have to get this stimulation? We got to start talking about these things because right now we don't have room for ourselves, and I want more quiet time. So I was going to conclude here. You know, again, tell us a little bit about where we can find you, you know, and where we can get a little bit more information, Tyrone.
Right now, I have an Instagram. I'm never on there because everybody is just picture savvy. Too much picture going on. But you can go to my Facebook page. It's Natural Woman Photography. And if you do want to interact with me, you can also find me at Tyrone I Got a Camera Richardson on Facebook. And hey, let's work. Okay. Let's work. Let's get these women out here in a positive way. You know what I'm saying? And if they want to shoot fun pictures, do what you want to do. Okay.
Erotica, where can they find you?
You can find me on Twitter, Erotica Blue, EROTICABLEU. That's Twitter. Instagram, E_BLEU. And Facebook, E.BLEU.
Okay. And Maya, is there a place where we can find you? Because I know you're writing a book. You know, and because you're very critical of this type of information, you have a very strong opinion. So I'm literally looking forward to that book that you're gonna let us hear about this.
I honestly am not a big social media person. It's really funny that you're talking about this technology. I kind of try to stay out of it and kind of dabble in it. I have an Instagram. I don't have a Facebook. I don't do Facebook.
Okay, Instagram?
My Instagram is Lena Dandridge.
Lena Dandridge.
That is it.
Okay, all right. And of course, you can always find me at mindbootyandsoul.tv. You can go to Facebook /mindbootyandsoul. And unfortunately, Twitter is just Mind, Booty, and Soul. Let's tune in every Tuesday at 7 p.m. and we'll have some more intellectual conversation about sexuality, technology, and all the really stuff that's affecting our psyche and being at this really critical moment in time. See you next week.
How to love her. Look at the world who's on the magazine covers. Pencil thin waist with commodified traits from the one African mother of the human race. Homogenized lover, glorify and white face. For cash, add into the hype of the chase. Just sexual bait, yeah, she's falling from grace. A nice bitch that takes just a bitch to waste. Whoa, a man who says bitch without context means he's got a complex. The word queen describes a woman best, but many men only understand conquest with no conscious contribution to evolution or progress. Gotta go through all this instead of being honest. Be sure the ladies, we know you want us. Do you know if you want the goddess or the prize? American booty for sale in every nation. 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 American booty for sale in every nation.
Thank you for tuning into LA Talk Live and the Talk Live Broadcast Network, original reality radio, handcrafted for your listening and viewing pleasure. This is LA Talk Live, and we are more than just talk. Stay tuned.